Chapter 11. Avoiding Chad grew a little easier after that. Though he often popped into Jess's head, she found ways to fill her time to avoid focusing on him. Her job kept her busy for one, and on Friday nights, she attended the Bible study with Emily. The roommates had also started a Saturday movie night to keep them both out of trouble. Plus, Randall started sitting next to her in class and walking her out each day. "I ought to like him, right?" Jess asked Emily as she pulled the popcorn bag from the microwave and opened it. The sweet, buttery smell of the popcorn filled the air as a cloud of steam billowed from the bag. Careful not to burn her fingers, Jess tilted the bag until the oily yellow kernels filled the metallic bowl. Though she loved microwaved popcorn, she had never liked eating it directly out of the bag, due to the residue it left on her hand. Plus, it was harder to share that way. "You want my honest opinion?" "Of course." "Well, just because he's nice and a Christian doesn't mean you'll be attracted to him," Emily said as she popped the DVD in the player. Jess had rented When Love Returns, the small-town love story from the Red Box at the Student Union before leaving work for the day. "If we were attracted to every Christian man, that would be a mess. I mean, if that were the case, I'd be attracted to Jared and Chase and—" "You mean you aren't?" Jess teased her. "I've seen the way you look at Jared." "No way," she said with an adamant shake of her head. "Jared and I are just friends. We tried dating last year, but it didn't work out. Besides, he likes this new girl, Amanda. Anyway, it's not about liking Randall exactly. It's about finding a guy with those qualities. Someone of faith who loves the Lord." Jess joined Emily on the bed and placed the bowl between them. "I guess you're right. I just feel bad, like I should be attracted to him. But honestly, I can't get Chad out of my head." "Is that the guy I walked in on?" Emily asked with a raised eyebrow. "Yes," Jess said slowly, and then continued in a hurry before Emily could interrupt. "I know it's wrong, that he's wrong for me, but thoughts of him just keep flying in, even when I don't want them there." "Have you tried praying about it?" Emily asked. "All the time," Jess said with a sigh. "It's probably selfish, but I was really hoping God would make me magically forget how attracted to him I was. It hasn't happened yet." Emily popped a kernel in her mouth and chewed slowly. "Well, have you tried praying for him?" "What?" "Pray for him," she said. "He's in your life for a reason. He may not be healthy for you right now, but maybe God's plan was to have you be a seed in his journey to redemption. I also think you should avoid relationships for a bit anyway. Get to know yourself and what you really want before trying to blend your life with someone else's." As the movie began, Jess leaned back against the wall and pondered Emily's words. She was right that Jess needed to find herself, but she didn't understand how she could be a seed for anyone's redemption. There was still so much in her past she was ashamed of. "Thank you for meeting me," Chad said as he sat across from the chaplain. Not being a churchgoer, Chad was unfamiliar with the pastors in the area, but he knew the campus had a chaplain on staff. "Of course," the man said. He was older, with salt and pepper hair and laugh lines around his eyes. "What can I do for you?" "I have some questions," Chad said, "about God." "Well, that is my specialty," the man said with a smile. "But I don't claim to know everything. Only God does that. Still, I'll be happy to answer what I can." "Why does God allow suffering?" Chad asked. "Ah," the chaplain said, "that is a common question. The truth is that we don't know the answer. God allows free will, and because there is sin in the world, often that free will leads to suffering for others." "But why would he take someone good? See, my brother had a heart for God, unlike me. He was a true believer. So why would God take him instead of me?" "Oh, son, I'm sorry you lost your brother, but God doesn't work like that. Your brother was affected by someone else's free will, and sometimes that means bad things happen to good people. But it sounds like your brother was prepared to meet God." "But couldn't God have stopped it? Couldn't he have just kept my brother from getting killed?" Chad pushed. The chaplain sat back in his brown leather chair. "I suppose he could have. But let me ask you this. If your brother were still alive, would you be here in my office?" "What do you mean?" Chad asked. "You said your brother was a true believer. I take that to mean you weren't. That you acted as if you were, but you weren't really. Am I right? Chad shrugged, not liking where this was going all of a sudden. I guess. I attended church, but I wasn't dedicated like Kyle was. So am I safe in assuming if your brother was still alive that you would still be on that path, talking the talk but not walking the walk? Are you saying my actions got my brother killed? Not at all. But I am saying that we don't know God's plan. We only see the lower story, what's happening down here, but God sees a much larger plan from his viewpoint. Chad sat back and thought about the chaplain's words. Could it be that his anger had been misplaced? As if reading his mind, the chaplain leaned forward again and said, God understands when we are angry with him. It doesn't make him love us any less, and he is still waiting to accept us with open arms when we are ready to come home. Chad nodded as he thanked the chaplain and headed out of the office. Kyle's last few journal entries had been about wishing Chad would renew his relationship with Jesus. Could he do that? Could he get over his anger at God and be the man that his brother had hoped he would become? And what about his lifestyle? Would that have to change too? And where did Jess fit into all of this? Chad had come to the chaplain for answers, but he was leaving with a lot of questions too.